back to question 2, as I said, when you meet question 2, it is an excerpt question, and that takes 25 more. Are you sure about what you're supposed to do? Yes? Have you compared or something? Because people are not participating. This is an interactive session. I'm not giving it as a person. I'm talking so that you also talk. So are you aware about what you're supposed to do when they tell you to put in its immediate context, or tell us what is happening after or what is happening before? Yes. No. So I'll then talk about it. If you do not read Fathers of Nations and internalize, then you will have a challenge. And that's why I was telling you the parts. You realize I started with those parts so that you can see actually the key areas in each of the parts. So whenever you're reading this chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, make a point of knowing what causes the other. Because the question of excerpt comes from causes and effects. It also takes a part where a character will react, will act, or will have to give something that will move the plot. And the areas I was mentioning majorly in the text are what can move us a step further or give cause effect. Because those questions want us to give that in chapter 3 and all that you read in relation to such. And when you are asked to give whatever happens before or after, don't go too far. Just look for information around. That is, if you have the text, what happens before should be half a page before what is asked. What happens after should also be within half a page after the excerpt ends. And it should directly relate to whether the part that is asked ended. Interact with as many excerpts as possible, because that will give you room to answer any excerpt question that comes. If you have group discussions, establish hot seats where you can challenge each other. Ask somebody, where did Himani study? What did he study? And how did he come to Nairobi University? What happened to Tuni? How did she die? When she died, what happened? Why did Asia live? So ask each other such questions, and they'll open a way for you to answer any excerpt question that comes. And most students score well in excerpts, but there are those who don't actually score anything because they have no clue about the text. They read with the teacher once in class, and that was it. So have I said something about question 1 or the excerpt after and before? And write as much as possible. When we are marking paper 2, we have not established the key points and leave out the rest. Write in point form, because we go as per points. For that question of excerpt, whatever is happening before, after, or put in its immediate context. Check on the number of good points, giving cause, effect, relationship, decisions, and such things. Reactions or actions. So check on the number of marks so that if there are 4 marks, then we have to see 4 points. There is no mistake in writing 8 points if you are not sure, because out of the 8, 4 might be right. Alright? Okay? On the character. Comment on the thematic concerns. Comment on the stylistic devices. Then, that is different from identify and explain. If they tell you discuss, it is similar to comment on. You have to start with the character trait, give illustration. Start with the theme, give an illustration. Start with the style, give an illustration, and the mark will come at the end, 2 marks. Now, when you are going for styles, themes, or character traits, make sure whatever answer you pick, you can actually see the illustration from the text. And therefore, particularly on styles, don't go. And if pieces can be seen. That one you see the 3 dots, and that one will be clear. Yes, somebody said satire. But satire for the political book is clear. You can actually see satire, yeah. Why can't? I refuse because you cannot see foreshadow in an excerpt. It comes out in a whole text, but not in an excerpt. Excerpt flashback has something that was there in past. How will you see that? Yeah, so onomatopoeic part in these 2 texts is very common. Go for that. And avoid those times which you cannot actually show. Satire is common because you can see what is laughable about, and we learn some lessons from it. Like those who sat for the today's exam, satire was there. Was it? Yeah, in a situation whereby we have leaders who cannot actually do well in their countries, yet they come to Gambia and they're enjoying. You can see. If you see the part of Bangora who does not read this article, and he stands as the chair, and he's reading choice matrix, he does not even have an idea about what it's all about. You can see satire. If you see Afolabi, who wrote the book on the failure of, and now he comes here telling us where Omega will give us change. You can see the satire. So that one is open. But don't go for flashback, for a shadow, for your safety. Because cases is not about how big, once you know the big words, it's about how good you will play around with words during the exam. So that is question 2, 3, and 4 on styles, themes, and character traits. Character traits are described in what? I know that one your teachers have told you. Which words are used to describe characters? Yes? Adjectives. So let's not... Do you know that one that we're looking through uses when telling Kimani she's gone? Do you know the tone that maybe each chapter has its own dominant mood. It has its dominant tone used by characters, and it has an attitude that is given by the writer, or you as the reader when you are reading, or any other. Now I'll talk about tone, mood, and attitude briefly when I'm discussing question 3. The other question in this part is grammar, and grammar is grammar. It's either you are changing a statement to a question, you are changing it from indirect to direct, or vice versa. Passive to active, or active to passive. We also have questions asking you to have the question tag. So that is in relation to grammar, therefore consider all rubrics that we use in grammar. Then we have a question of words and expressions. What is the meaning of this word? What does this phrase mean? Have you underlined all the new words in Fathers of Nations and found out how you can give a synonym? The best way to answer meanings of words is to give a synonym. Because when you begin explaining, you will find yourself moving away from the word class of the tense. So when we are marking that question, you normally look at, has the student given us a word that can be replaced in the excerpt, and when we read it flows. We also look at the word and see, is it fitting the word class? If it was a noun, the answer should be a noun. If it's a verb, the answer should be a verb. If it is past tense, then the answer should also be past tense. Avoid using the two infinitive and verb to be. So if a word is there, give me a word in Fathers of Nations. A vocabulary, because that's what they say. Yeah? Summit. What word class does it belong to? Summit is it a noun, verb, adjective? Noun. Now let's look for a synonym to summit. Summit is Conference, at least that's what gives us the correct, or gathering. That's a noun. Another one? Assembly. That's meaning a gathering. So get to have the right word class and the right tenses. So we are done with question 2. Sometimes you can go the second approach. This is the summative approach. Summative approach, you read line by line and you interpret and write it down. If it has 4 stanzas, then